Hey guys, this is Ed with KatieFulsherProperties.com. Today's my off day. I'm a plumber today. Recently, about 2 years ago, I got three brand new toilets. American Standard, model 4215A. Great toilets when they work, 19 golf balls. Let me tell you, it'll flush it. Problem is, as you can see, they leak. And this is a known issue with them. Called American Standard. They sent me, or are sending me 3 parts to replace. This is the item here that's bad. You'll see the specifically this gasket on the original model from the factory is what goes out. They're all 3 going out. I had to buy one right away because this is of course running all the time, and the problem with that is my little valve down here, when you go to shut it off, leaks. So not only do I have to replace the gasket in the toilet and the inside of it, I've got to go in and do some plumbing work and replace a valve. No big deal if you've got the tools. I have the tools. So this is my first video blog, and we'll post this up on the website when we're done. We'll update it here in a second once we get going. Talk to y'all soon. See ya. Alright, we got the water off. We've used a little cup to get the rest of the water out. I'm using a towel to soak up the rest of the water. Now this is your little pull chain. I took the pin off of it. You want to remove this because you're going to be dealing with everything down in here, and you don't want to break this. So this is righty-loosey, okay? So turn it to the right, we'll loosen it up. It's counterintuitive from what you normally do. Get this off of here. Then we're going to get the rest of the water out and start taking these screws right here out from underneath. There's a 1/2-inch nut. So I've got a socket with an extended 1/2-inch socket on it. We're going to work those out and hopefully lift the tank out, and we'll show you what happens. Before we do all that, we're going to come down here. We're going to loosen up our water supply from underneath. Now there's going to be some water coming out of that. The problem that I have is this valve right here, when you turn it off, it spews water out of the top, so it's corroded. Now, my house was built in '98. We have really hard water, so these valves are something that I've probably replaced all of my valves on the outside. It's just a matter of time that they'll eventually corrode up, and you'll have to replace them unless you get a water softener, but that's a whole nother issue. So we'll take that off, pull that out, take the screws out, and show you what happens. All right, so my nuts are completely off the back of the screws, and I should be able to just pick this up just like that. We got some water in here, so hang on. All right, so we got our tank off. This is the bottom of it. This green seal right here is what's leaking. It's just letting water seep through. There's the throughput. We're going to clean all that off and clean the bottom of this and replace this right now. You take this gasket off, and this is just a big nut that we'll get our channel locks, and we'll get that off there. So you need some pretty big channel locks. They also make a tool specifically for this. All right, we're going to get that out, get the new one on, and see what happens. All right, so we got the this out. This is the whole thing. It's leaking right in this area right here. Hang on. This whole seal here is where it's leaking under. It just constantly runs, drops the water level, and it was doing about every 5 or 10 minutes. So, got that off. Our next target is our shutoff valve there. We've got to replace since we get a little more room to work here, so we're going to set all this aside. In the meantime, I've gone in and read my instructions very carefully. It's very important. Always read the instructions. All right, let's get on this valve. All right, well, we got the valve off. It's a compression fitting. So I've got my replacement compression fitting here. This should just slip right on and screw down. I've got my plumber's tape. I did have, it was touch and go there for a while, getting it to break loose, but it did with just a little bit of force. You don't want to force it too much, because if you crack your pipe behind there, then you've got a whole nother issue that you want to, don't want to have to deal with. And these are all copper pipes, so it does bend. All right, so we're going to get that valve on, get our top done, and get the water back on so I can have some dinner. All right, so we've got our flapper and valve set up just the way it was, so that it's out of the way of the refill thing. And all you do here, it just says, is hand tighten this screw, this nut, and then once that's done, we're going to drop that gasket over it, set it back down, and replace the screws and set it on. And a fairly straightforward project that would probably cost you, oh gosh, $200–300 to have a plumber come out and do. And my parts were maybe $15 for the toilet, and probably another $10 for the valve. Just a little time and effort. Nothing real hard. We'll show you the finished product here in a second, and as we get things done. All right, one of the things you need to watch out for when you're doing this is your screws in different parts are going to look different. This is the original through screw that held the tank onto the toilet. It's got a rubber gasket that goes through. The replacements don't. They just have a rubber washer. This will fit on the inside. And then on the outside, just as you can see here, I've just got a metal washer and a nut that they provide. And then I'll do another metal washer, nut, and or rubber series of things to come from the bottom and hold everything on. So my top, set it down. It's set right just fine. Now these things do fit a little loose. You can see my gasket in there, so I'm going to real slowly tighten this down with the nuts provided. But the big thing here is you never want to over tighten, because you can crack everything and ruin your toilet. That's just a huge thing, so you got to be real careful at this point. We're going to get this thing strapped down, get some water to it, and get the water back on. All right, our tank is secure. Now, this is all I use. This is just a socket with 2 extensions on it, extended socket, and this was just hand tight. Once your screws are in there, everything tightens up real good the way this is designed, so it shouldn't go anywhere. And now we'll put some water to it. All right, the moment of truth. We turn the water back on. Everything looks good there. I don't see any drips. Just a little water on the floor from what we did. That looks good. I don't see any drips. We'll keep an eye on this for the next probably couple hours, just see if anything develops. You always want to do that anytime you do any kind of work, plumbing especially, because once you get things under pressure. All right, so let's adjust this. All right. Let's make sure this gets adjusted. All right, that looks good. Well, we're almost wrapped up with our replacement toilet parts project, leaky toilet. It's one of those things, law of unintended consequences, and when you fix something, something else breaks. The float right here is not quite long enough, and it just barely shuts off. As you can see, the water right here is just at the end, and I literally have to pick this up to get it to shut off. So I've got to replace this. The float probably has a little bit of water in it, because it's probably the original, so it's a couple years old. And get a new one on here, but that's a simple fix. You just take the screw off the bottom down here, we put the water in. It's you don't have to really do much of anything. Turn the water off, and I got a brand new valve for that, so that's all working. So just be ready. Take your time. Read the instructions. There's not much you can't do. Always call the manufacturer first if it's a new product. They're sending me parts for my other two toilets, which I'm sure will fit a lot better than these. But hey, this got me working, and now I'm prepared. If I have another valve, it's a pretty simple fix to replace the valve, and then I'll have new valves on my toilets. Look me up, katiefolsherproperties.com. I'm going to start doing blogs probably every couple of weeks with different things I do around the house. Just as a homeowner, these are things you're going to have to be prepared for. Understand you can do a lot of stuff on your home, but there's a point where you have to call a professional. I don't deal with major electrical. I'll replace a switch, but that's about it. Plumbing, it can't kill you unless it's laid across an electrical wire, but that's another story. Till then, look me up, Edward Ware, katiefolsherproperties.com. Your superstar broker, doing a little plumbing work today.